Would you believe the premise of today's video was actually to come out and shoot the subtle signs of the changing season from summer to autumn? Now I know that's quite difficult to believe given the weather we've had recently, the wind and the rain. You'd think we'd gone straight to winter. However, we're going to give this a go anyway. So I'm headed down to one of my local woodlands today, a place that we've been to before, to try and shoot those subtle signs, the change of colours, the textures, the shapes, the light, and see what we get. So hopefully it's going to be a good one. Let's go and see what we can find. So we're here in the Reens today, one of my local woodlands, one of my favourite spots. You'll know that I've been down and done quite a lot of photography and done some videos here in the past. I've done bluebell videos here in the past, and I did my chasing likes video out here in a different part of the Reens. I think it was back in June. But like I said, today we've come looking for that subtle change in the season, the colours in the leaves, the changing of the ferns, that sort of thing. So my plan is to keep things really simple. I'm not looking for grand views, and I'm not looking for amazing light today because, well, there isn't any. It's flat and overcast, which is great for what I want to do. And Woodland isn't about those big scenes. Woodland isn't about sunset views. Woodland is about taking your time and slowing down and enjoying what you're actually doing. It's also a busy, messy environment where it can be quite difficult to find a composition, which is why I think simple works best. Textures, shapes, colours. So that's what we're going to try and work on while we're here today. Hopefully we'll get some nice shots. I've got to say, actually, as I spin around here, look, if you see behind me, it is very, very green still at the moment, but I'm not planning to shoot really much in this part of the woods. I'm planning to go up the hill a little way to where I've done some bluebell stuff before and see what it's looking like up there, because hopefully up there where it's a little bit more exposed, we may get a bit more in the way of colour in the ferns. But down here, it's remarkably green still. So let's have that little wander around and see what we can find. So it turns out I haven't actually had to go very far to find one of the first images that's caught my attention. In fact, I've literally come to pick up my bag and tripod, and it's presented itself. So let me show you what I'm looking at. So that first composition is this fantastic leaf, and you can see I've got the camera set up here already. Now this caught my attention because it's exactly that kind of simplicity that I'm talking about. It's the shape, it's the texture, and it's the colour, because that leaf now clearly, having fallen from the trees, is changing from green through to a yellow colour. You've got this beautiful red, orangey coloured stem on it. And it's just one of those, I think it's one of those perfect examples of what I've actually come looking for this morning. And like I said, it's not very far from where I filmed that last section on the video. So camera's all set up. If you know who Simon Booth is, who does a lot of woodland photography, fantastic woodland photographer, this kind of feels like the sort of image that he would do, which is not something that I tend to do very often. But this just looks absolutely incredible. So the camera's all set up. I'm going to grab that picture in a minute. I'll show you what that composition looks like on the back of the screen, and then once we've done that, I'll pop the image up on the screen for you to take a look at. So hopefully you can see that image there on the back of the screen. I've gone for that kind of diagonal through the image. I thought that worked quite nicely, so that you transition from that red stem right through into the colour change there of the leaf, the greens on the outside, the yellows in the middle, and the general sort of decay. Sat nicely on this bed of dead leaves anyway. And I just think that works really, really nicely. There is at least a couple of elements that I may take out in post-production. So there's, I don't know if you can see it, there's like a little white stick or something here, and again up here in this top corner, which I think are a little bit of a distraction to the overall image. But I think other than that, other than maybe cloning those out in post-production, there's nothing else really I need to do to this image. And I think that's a really good start. I think that's a really nice example to start the video with, to show the sort of thing that I've come looking for: colour, texture, keeping it simple. And yeah, I really like the look of that. So I'm going to pop that up on the screen now for you guys to take a look at. As much as I love shooting with the tripod, because it helps me to slow down, you can't beat having to wander around using the viewfinder, particularly with Woodland. I find that it's really helpful because Woodland being so messy and cluttered and busy, it just helps to define the area that you're looking at and to help with that composition. As you've just seen there, with these beautiful leaves, these leaves are just beginning to turn. Some nice yellows in there, some nice browns starting to come through, and they look quite nice as that pattern against that canopy light coming through from above. So I think that's an image I would find a little bit more difficult to do on the tripod by the time I set it up and get myself into position. But by just having a little wander around, use the viewfinder, take some shots, adjust the settings as I need to, then you get something a little bit different. That's what it's all about, isn't it? Anyway, those images, I'll pop those up on the screen for you to take a look at now. So after I filmed that last little bit with the tree canopy there, the last pictures that you saw, as I turned around, I spotted this. I don't know how well you can see that on the camera. There's a little ivy leaf just here, but it's gone yellow. So you've got this beautiful ivy leaf in this moss, green ivy leaves around it, and it just really caught my attention, the contrast of the colour, and again, that sort of subtle change that we're looking for. And I got to say, I know I was after subtle change today, but my Christ, if you came out here not knowing what season it was, you wouldn't realise we were on the turn into autumn. It's so bloody green. I said, I know I wanted subtle, but this is ridiculous. Anyway, I think we have got some images, so that's the important bit. There is definite evidence that the season is on the change. Like I said, my Christ, it's subtle. But I thought that this made a really nice composition. Like I said, the green moss in there, the green ivy leaves around, and that yellow ivy leaf in the middle there, and that's looking quite nice on the back of the screen. So I'm just going to grab that as a shot, and then I'll pop that up on the screen for you to take a look at. Take a look at this. That one, I think that one came down a little while ago. I don't think that's a recent one. I think that's this one that's been like that for a little while. But you've got to be a little bit careful out in the woodlands as well, because obviously trees, roots in the ground, you don't know how deep those roots run, windy conditions, which is why I've chosen to come out today when the wind has eased off and the weather has given us a little bit of a break. But yeah, good grief, can you imagine if that had come over on somebody? And it's still alive, still got leaves on it, still growing away. So just be careful. Woodland is not necessarily as safe as you think it is. I don't know about you, but one of the things that really speaks of the changing season from summer to autumn for me is the ferns. Now, like I said to you just now, it's the change here today is very subtle. I was in Idless Woods a few weeks back, at the very beginning of September, and it's looking much more autumnal there. So probably I should have shot that video there, but I decided to come here instead. Now, I haven't seen an awful lot in the way of ferns that have actually gone over that nice brown colour, that are in good condition. A lot of them, I would imagine from the wind and the rain that we've had recently, they look quite battered. And I don't know how well you can see this, but obviously there are in here, you can see there's some reddy orangey colour ferns in there that have clearly died off and are giving me that little bit of colour that I want. Just think of the hat, by the way. I'm quite pleased with it. I don't normally wear a hat, but I thought, you know, might as well advertise myself. So yeah, we've got some reds and oranges in there, we've got a bit of yellow in there, and obviously that green. I'm using, there's two trees here and two trees a little bit further back to kind of anchor and frame the image. There's a little bit of light as well in the background of the image there, which hopefully is just going to lead the eye through with that colour as well. And I think the position of those trees helps to give a little bit of depth to the image. I think one of the things that can be quite difficult with photography in general, but particularly woodland photography, can be to get that depth perception into an image. Whereas with this, you can kind of see those trees because of the distance, the separation between them. You can see that the gap. You can get that sense of depth to the image. So I'm just going to grab the shot and we'll see how that comes out. looks quite good on the back of the screen. Yeah, looks all right to me. I'll pop it up for you to have a look at. So unsurprisingly, given that we're in a woodland and it's been very, very wet recently, while I was wandering around looking for those ferns, I found something else that caught my attention. So let me just buzz you around. There we go. So hopefully you can see here now. I think they're puffballs. I'm not 100% sure. I'm sure somebody in the comments will correct me if I'm wrong. But they look absolutely incredible. That yellow against that green moss looks fantastic. And even though we've got some twigs and things sticking out of this and it's quite messy, I might have a go at getting a composition here, particularly these two in the middle. See these two just here. I think that there could be quite a nice composition just in there. You see what I'm saying? Just nestled in there, kind of framed between those sticks. So I think I'm going to set the camera up and have a crack at that. We'll have a look at that in a minute anyway. The other thing that I spotted was just over here, and again some beautiful, beautiful fungus here. Look at that, absolutely incredible. Phenomenal stuff. Now, I'm not 100% sure that I'm actually going to shoot that particular one. Because it's not an easy one to get, in all honesty. There is another branch over here with some on as well. So, but it's nice to know that we're in that time of year now, that sort of season when we have got some mushroom activity going on. I do have an idea for a video involving mushrooms when they actually come through properly, which might be something a little bit different. We'll see. We'll see if the conditions allow me to get it done, but I am going to set the camera a minute. I'm going to have a pop at shooting those, what I think are puffballs against that green moss, and I'll come back to you in just a second once I've got that all set up. Okay, so there we go. There's the puffballs, mushrooms, fungus, whatever it is. Like I said, I'm sure one of you will tell me in the comments what it is, because I'm useless with this sort of stuff. But I've got that framed up pretty much as I showed you on the camera just now. I've almost got the twigs as like a V shape in there, and the two puffballs right there in the middle, which is looking really nice. Again, like I said, the yellow against that luminous kind of moss that's in there is looking really, really nice. So hopefully we'll get a nice shot out of that. I'm probably going to focus stack this one because I'm a little bit further away than I'd like to be, and there's an awful lot going on in there. So I just think if I focus stack that with a bit of luck, we'll get a much nicer image out of it. But we'll see how that comes out. So whatever the result of that was, I'm going to pop that one up on the screen now for you to take a look at. And this is great. This is a bonus image. I wasn't expecting to get anything like this, so this is a major bonus, and just really goes to highlight as well why, when you're out doing any kind of photography, you've got to keep your eyes open, have a good look around, have a good explore, and take the opportunity to shoot things like this that you're not expecting to find. But here's that image for you. So I think we're probably done for today, folks. Thank you ever so much if you've made it to the end of this video, and if you've enjoyed what you've seen, please do give the video a like and maybe subscribe to the channel. It's entirely up to you. I don't mind either way. I'm going to carry on trying to do these videos regardless. Woodland forces you to slow down. Woodland forces you to be patient with what you're doing. It's not like being on the coast where you're chasing light. You have to think in smaller terms with woodland. You have to simplify your images, and you have to build your frame, your composition very steadily and carefully. But honestly, that's a gift when you think about it, because it reminds us that photography isn't all about fireworks and epic skies. It's about being present. It's about noticing your surroundings, and it's about letting the place set the pace for the work that you're about to do. Now, I did end up shooting some images of the fungus that was over there on the branches, and in fact I found another one afterwards. I didn't film that section, but I've got some images, so I'm going to pop those images up now at the very end of this video. And you know, when I'm walking back to the car in a minute, if I see anything of interest and I stop and I photograph it, I'll pop those images on the end as well. We're coming into that time of year now where you're likely to see more in the way of woodland photography from me. We've got all the beautiful autumn colours, the reds and the oranges to come yet. And I'm hoping that I'm going to be able to just document over the next few weeks the change from the greens to the yellows to the oranges to the reds. And then obviously into the winter, that's all going to be very weather dependent and dependent on how quickly things change. I've noticed in previous years that sometimes it can be quite late, other times it can be quite early. So we'll have to wait and see. And like I said, I've got an idea for a video involving shrooms that is definitely a little bit different. So I'm working on that, I'm planning on that one at the moment, and that could end up being October's video, but I'm not making any promises. Anyway, again, thank you ever so much for watching this video. Please, if you've enjoyed it, do give the video a like, do subscribe, leave me a comment. I read all the comments, leave me a comment below. What's your first thing that you notice about the change of season? Is it the chill in the air in the morning? Is it the turning of the leaves? Is it the ferns? Is it, what is it that you notice about the change of season from summer to autumn? Anyway, I'm off home. I need a cup of coffee and something to eat, so I'll see you on the next one. Thank you ever so much. Whoa, sorry, just before you go, or just before I show you the rest of those images, I completely forgot to mention, which considering I'm trying to be a professional, I can be bloody amateur at times, my Cornwall on Camera 2026 calendar is now available to pre-order. I'm hoping to go to print in October. The calendar is priced at £12 each plus postage and packaging. Unfortunately, due to some regulation changes, I'm no longer able to ship, or not currently able to ship to the US or the EU. Hopefully that will change in the future. So if you're interested in purchasing one of my calendars, there are links below in the description to my website and to my Facebook page where I do most of my business. If you want to go and take a look, all the details are there. If you're interested in ordering, just drop me a message, send me an email, whatever you like really, as long as you get in touch, and hopefully I can drop one of those calendars in your hand once they become available. Thank you very much. Here's the rest of those images, by the way.